Hey guys, in this video, Anton from my community asked, how much margin should I be making on my leads? Let's say you sell leads for $50. What would your maximum lead cost be? Or what should you be aiming for in the ad platforms? I like to say that about 30% is my minimum gross profit margin, or the gross profit margin I'm aiming for. I think that's realistic if you've priced your leads correctly. And then anything above that is actually quite good. So if you can get anything from 50% margin to 100% margin, which I have seen and done, you're in a very good vertical. Now, this kind of comes back to another question, which is how much should I be charging for my leads? So one of the questions I often get as well is, how much should I actually be charging? And the question comes actually back to figuring out how much your clients make on these leads. So if you've got a client that is, say, a mortgage broker, for example, and the average loan size is $600,000, how much do they make? You could ask one of two things. You could ask your clients, or you could ask Claude. But essentially, I know from experience, they make about, okay, I cheated. I went to ChatGPT actually, but it told me that on average, the typical mortgage broker makes an upfront commission of about 0.65% on a $600,000 loan, so it's about $3,900, and that is excluding tax, 10% services tax. But they also make a trail of 0.15%, which doesn't sound like much, but it's actually $900 a year. So when you look at it in total, they're making up around $4,000 to $4,800. So some lenders will pay a bit lower or higher, low end $3,000, high end upfront $4,000. So let's assume it's about $4,000. So what should I charge for those leads? Now, online leads convert at about 1 in 10. So 1 in 10 leads convert. And most businesses are willing to pay about 30% or a third of their revenue as acquisition cost. Meaning, if I was to hand that mortgage broker a done deal referral, a friend of mine wants a home loan and he's just going to go with my recommendation, he's probably going to pay me 30%. 33% as a commission. They quite often do that and work with other businesses that way, like accountants and car finance brokers. So knowing that, we know that they can pay up to that much for acquisition. What is a third of the average commission size? 4,000 is, now it's roughly about 1667, which if we then divide it by 10, we get how much they could theoretically pay for a lead in order to convert that lead. Hang on, I think my maths is really bad. It's 133. So we know that they can pay up to 133 per lead if the lead's converted 1 in 10. So knowing this, you now have the confidence to charge this amount, and which is quite a healthy cost per lead. I can generate mortgage leads for anywhere from $50 to $60, although my ceiling is 67% of that, or sorry, 70% of that. So if we want a 30% margin, we can go up to 70% of 133, it's $93, which gives me a healthy target CPA. And in my sales call, I will whip out a calculator and do the math for them along and explain how these numbers work. So hopefully that explains how I work out margin. I'm looking for 30% at a minimum, but ideally up to 50%. In this case, we can get a lot more, up to about 80% margin here. So that's a really good vertical pay per lead. Hope that was helpful, guys. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments. Anything else you'd like me to answer, there's also an opportunity to join my free school community or my paid school community, and you can jump on a call with me for an hour a week, and I can answer questions like this directly and help you in your unique situation. All right, see you in the next video.